everyone.
Well, we're all getting moved out to Garth Bridge. When that big move takes place, we'll be everywhere.
Hello everyone, how are we? Welcome. It's lovely to see you all here today. It's great to see so many different faces from so many different disciplines as well, all coming together. Please feel free to help yourself to some refreshments. We've got some German pretzels, which I believe are fabulous. And yeah, feel free to do that. I believe there is a test, fire alarm test, around about 4:30. We are expecting a test, so don't be too alarmed. If we do need to vacate the room, there is a fire exit just outside the door, through the double doors to the right, and also straight to the end, and the muster point is just outside the front. There is a toilet just outside the door and just to the right there as well, should anybody need to go during the session. So I'd really like to just extend our thanks for everybody for coming along today. My name's Jenny Henderson, and I'm one of the lecturers with the School of Nursing and the Health Sciences. I'm based at the City campus here at the university, and I'm also a TILE associate. I'd also like to introduce you to Eva Getska. Now that is her name for today. She does have another surname, but that's my pronunciation. And Eva is a vital person in the organisation. She's one of our second year psychology students here at the university as well. And it's Eva who carried carefully in the pretzels today, so thank you. The TILE network, this has been really the brainchild of our first speaker and the founder of it, Carolina Kuepper-Tetzel, who really, it's great to now see this coming to fruition. It's really good to see everything happening. Carolina joined the School of Psychology at the university in 2015, towards the end of 2015. She'd initially obtained her PhD in cognitive psychology from the University of Mannheim in 2010. From there, she travelled about a bit and undertook some postdoctoral work in Canada at York University in Toronto, and then on to the Centre for Integrative Research in Cognition, Learning and Education at Washington University, St. Louis in the United States. Her research is really focused on learning and memory phenomena, and that allowed implementation in educational settings, and it was to offer teachers and students a wide range of beneficial strategies that promote long-term retention. So I'd like you, without further ado, to welcome our first speaker and to kick off our first TILE meeting. Carolina.
Thank you very much. So today we are completely in the future because we are live streaming this. I hope this works. Hello world. So today I'm not going to talk about research. Today I'm going to talk about a vision that I have for this network. And to understand where I'm coming from, first of all, just a little, if you want to tweet, we created this hashtag for all TILE meetings, which is hashtag TILE network. So if you want to tweet anything, take pictures, have comments, start a discussion there, don't forget to use that hashtag. So, who am I? It's important to know this, to understand TILE. It's important to understand my background a little bit. So I did my PhD at the University of Mannheim back in Germany, and when I was trying to decide what to do for my dissertation, I think for the first half a year I started with a specific topic. The name of the topic was to understand the representation of abstract concepts. And as you can already see from the topic, it's so abstract, it's not applied whatsoever. And I started doing this, and then in the middle of the night, I woke up and I thought, why am I doing this for? Okay, so what is my goal with this? Is there anything that I can apply this to? Is there anything that I can help people with this in any way? And I came to the conclusion, no. So I went back to my PhD supervisor and said, well, surprise, I'm not going to do this because I don't see a future in this. I don't think I will stick with this. And then he said to me, okay, what do you want to do? I have to know my PhD supervisor is, he does usually mathematical models of cognitive processes, very abstract again, so not applied at all. And I said to him, so what I want to do is I want to do a topic that I can apply to the field and run a field study. And he's like, what? No, what? A field study? He's like, so you mean go out there and actually collect data from people who are using this? I'm like, yeah, exactly. So he's like, okay, I'm on board as long as you model the data using mathematical models. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So this was my PhD thesis then. What I did, I worked on the distributor practice effect, a very old learning effect that states that if you distribute your practice across time instead of massing everything into one session, your memory for it and your retention of the material that you are actually practicing and studying will be better and enhanced. Instead of taking the same study time and massing it all, for example, the night before the exam. And so what I did in my PhD is I ran different studies in the laboratory, but also in the classroom with 6th graders, and then modeled the data to see which memory processes contributed to the beneficial distributor practice effect. Then, after I completed my PhD, I went to look for postdoc positions, and I ended up going to Washington University in St. Louis, which has a center for integrative research on cognition, education, and learning. And what we did there was basically taking all those different findings from cognitive psychology that have been shown to enhance memory performance and to do little interventions in classrooms, in university classrooms, to enhance retention there. The project in this center focus on improving retention in STEM topics, so mathematics, science, technology, and engineering, with a focus of especially minorities, to keep them in the program so that they actually in the end finish with a degree. And so using different strategies again, mostly distributor practice and retrieval practice. Retrieval practice meaning what you do is bring information to mind by giving students many tests. They love tests. You figure that. But so you give them many different tests that are all low stake or no stake tests, and then the process of bringing information to mind, of doing and trying to retrieve information is already a learning event and already enhances memory. And so this is, we did different kind of intervention there on a larger scale to see if this is implemented in larger lecture halls, which is usually a problem, to do any kind of active learning intervention. If we introduce this in different ways, if that enhances student performance and attainment of the grade, of the degree in the end. And then in 2015, I was, it was at the end of my 2-year postdoc at WashU. I started looking for a job, and I found this job description here at the University of Dundee, advertising for lecturer in teaching and scholarship. And I thought, what the hell is scholarship? Still some debate what it is. For me, back then, it was very clear what it is. It is basically what I have been doing for 2 years at WashU. applying research findings, evidence from research into the classroom, and informing practice through research-based findings. And so I thought, this is what I want to do. I love this. This is exactly what I'm made for, taking expertise that I have and applying it and helping students and helping teachers and lecturers to perform better and to be more satisfied with their lectures and their teaching. So, and then last year in 2000, was already almost 1.5 years ago, I joined the Learning Scientist, which is a scholarly outreach project initiated. It is a brainchild of Jana Weinstein and Megan now Sumaraki. And Cindy Nebel was already in the team, and I invited Jana as an external speaker in 2016. And during that time, we started talking about whether learning scientists are what they're doing and all the big projects that they are doing. And I said, if you want to have me on board, I'm on board with this. I would be happy to contribute. And so they added me to their team. My role within the Learning Scientist is to write blog posts. I publish a blog post once a month on different issues and findings regarding learning and teaching. And together with Jana Weinstein, I co-organize the monthly Twitter chat that you can find under hashtag LearnSciChat. And lucky enough, tomorrow there is such a chat again taking place at 8 p.m. our time here, where we take 1 hour where we discuss different questions and issues in learning and teaching. So feel free to chime in and to come along. So the big goal for me, for my career and for my research and all my doing is really to improve education. And if you talk to people and say, okay, what do you want to do? I want to improve education. What you will hear is, oh, well, what we need for that, we need more research, we need more resources, and we need more technology. We need more technology to do that. And I started thinking about this, and I thought, well, yeah, I partly agree with this. I agree that we need more. It's always good to have more. That's good. But what about the stuff that we already have sitting around, all the brain power that we have from different disciplines? People know different parts of the puzzle, and what if we can get them together and discuss those issues together? Because at least for me in the past, what was always the case, I have been discussing this with my psychology friends, and not even with all the psychology. No, just with the cognitive psychology friends, right? So it's all very. We are in different boxes, and it's fine to work like this for a while. But I believe if you want to change something big as education, and if you want to make a difference when it comes to education, you have to work together. And that's my first point. My second point is when we talk about education or challenges we have in education, we usually set too high goals. Like the goals are basically unattainable, and we know from motivation research that a goal that is too high and it's not broken down in smaller steps will not be achieved. And the motivation will go out of the window to actually do something about it, because the mountain that you want to climb is basically too high. But if we set smaller goals to make changes one at a time, like in individual lectures, in individual classrooms, in an entire discipline, in a school, and so on, then we can actually, with little steps, achieve a lot. And then the other point is, or the last point is, I think we need to expect very small gains, and that those gains actually add up. So had a question from a teacher, I think last week, who said, there are those 6 strategies that have been shown from cognitive psychology that are very efficient and effective when it comes to improve education and improve student outcomes. And he's like, oh, I'm already doing those 5. How can I add the 6th one? I'm like, whoa. Wow, you're doing 5 of these. That's a lot already, okay? So why do you need, I just want to do this also because I want to be more effective. I'm like, well, that's not. I mean, because maybe if you just add everything at the one time, you don't pay attention to something that you have been doing very good before, and then everything gets really messy. And so also little gains, right? So start with one little change in your practice or in your teaching, and then from there you can continue and see if that works out first before actually adding something up. It's also important, for example, for students when I give them guidance in regard to what should I do. So I read your blog post, I read all the material that you gave me. What should I do? How can I integrate everything? Like, no, wrong question. Just if you show me that you can integrate one thing, that's plenty, right? Because all those strategies, even though they don't cost anything to implement them or to apply them, they take effort to actually stick with them and do them. And so I think if we set smaller goals and we expect smaller gains that add up in the future, and we use the resources we have, we can get pretty far. And so my idea was to see who's out there and who can contribute to this vision, to this network. And I identified 3 different groups, and I'm pretty sure you can break it down and make it do more and more subgroups. But I thought, looking at everyone who signed up to participate in this network, I could identify those 3 groups. The first group are researchers. And researchers, I mean here, doing research in the area of learning and teaching. Okay, so many of you here do some kind of research, but if it's not related to learning and teaching, I added you to the teachers under the teachers folder. Then you have teachers, people who teach either in higher education or in primary and secondary education. And we have so-called education facilitators. Those are people on higher administrative positions, people who are part of a center, for example, for learning and teaching, people who are part of a charity who inform the public about different learning strategies. And this group of people, I named them now education facilitators. And my point is that all 3 of them all 3 groups can contribute to the discussion by offering their own perspective to it. And it's important to listen to all those different parties, because researchers sometimes tend to say, I want basically take my research and just put it on there, like on the teachers. And this doesn't work, right? Because we know it works in specific context, but we need the teachers to tell us what we can do better. We need the teachers to tell researchers what the actual learning environment looks like, what the schedule looks like, what they're already doing, because they are already doing many different teaching strategies and using them. And sometimes it's really a small tweak that is needed and not like an entire revamp of a teaching method. And so where we all can contribute is knowledge supporting learning and teaching. And this is a category that's not only for researchers, because teachers and lecturers come with a lot of knowledge because they have been teaching in the past. So they have experience and they bring this to the table. And this experience can help us understand what's going well and where the problems are when it comes to making things better in the classroom. There is the aspect of unpacking scientific findings. So this is also something that I have been emphasizing with my work. There it is. Fire alarm, nothing to worry about. What's often the case is we have research published in journals that are not accessible for many reasons. First of all, you can't download it, right? So there's a paywall, so you can't access it even if you wanted to. And then finally, if you find a paper that you can access and download, you read it and you don't understand what's happening. So because you have to, for journals, you have to write it in a specific way that makes it sometimes impossible for someone to use it and apply it, even though it is something, it could be a topic that is completely applicable to education and to the actual concrete context. So what we need to do is unpacking scientific findings. And some researchers have started doing this, but many education facilitators working in centers, working for charities, for example, have started and are doing it as I speak. So taking research, putting it into a language that is usable, and then you can actually see that people start paying attention to the research, starting to use the research and trying to start to critically think about it and think about very interesting questions and important questions that can actually lead to new research. Applying evidence-based strategies to teaching, that's also a big goal, and this is something where everything comes together. Researchers can do this, teaching, people who teach can do this, and also education facilitators. Analyzing prevailing needs, I have seen this a lot. A lot of this is going on with education facilitators, writing books about different needs that are currently, that need to be tackled, and showing researchers again, so you see this is a feedback loop that goes back, what their research focus should be like, should be in the past, in the next future years. Because I personally believe that, it's just me, but I personally believe that research should serve the public. So creating tailor-made solutions, that's also really important. As I said in the beginning, you cannot take a strategy right out of a research paper and apply it exactly like that into a classroom, into a lecture hall. So there needs to be some tweaking, and the important part is that you need to find a way to evaluate what you're doing. So to see that if something that you did before is not as good as something that you are investing time into adopting it into your teaching. And this is actually a part of evaluation of ongoing and new teaching innovations, where researchers and teachers have to work very closely with each other together, and not many, I don't know many studies that had actually started doing this, to see, okay, we have those different findings from more standardized research papers, and now we are doing it in the classroom, in different classrooms, in different countries and classrooms, and we see how it actually works out, if it's better or not. We have done some studies like that when I was working at WashU, because this whole project was basically about that, to evaluate a new strategy. For example, very simple thing, introduction of clicker questions in the classroom versus no clicker questions. If people can retain more information, but also if people are more engaged during the lecture and stay in the program. And then, last but not least, what's important is that this outcome of this entire discussion revolving around all those different aspects needs to be communicated. So taking this all together, this is not something that one researcher or one group of researchers can do. We need more knowledge for this, so we need people who actually apply this. We need teachers in higher education and primary and secondary education, and also need education facilitators who can broadcast outcomes to a wider audience, and hopefully then reach, for example, policymakers to make changes on a higher level for everyone. So what I thought is needed as a first step is to establish such an environment where people from different disciplines work together. So for me it's very exciting to see as a psychologist that I will show you a map later how different disciplines we actually have represented here today, is to work, for example, with people from education. Because for some awkward reason, people from psychology and education don't talk to each other usually, even though they have a lot in common, or a lot in common, but they also have some very specialized knowledge that putting them together can actually make a huge difference when it comes to student learning and teaching in the classroom. Just from talking to a couple of colleagues in the education, I already have the feeling that if we can sit together and bring this brain power together, talking about different ways and approach the same issue, we can actually make learning better. So for example, a very concrete example for this is cognitive psychologists. They focus on learning strategies to enhance performance. Okay, so we do distributor practice, we take tests, we think about where to locate and when to give feedback to our students, right? And what educators or people from education do a lot is talk about motivation. And I personally believe this is so important, because this is so overseen in cognitive psychology, because if you can't motivate a student to sit down and apply any of those strategies, no one is using them, and so we don't get anywhere, right? Across sectors, so I don't just want a network that is within higher education only. I want a network that is education, okay? Because I want people from primary and secondary education, from higher education. I want them to sit together and to talk to each other, because one big problem that we are facing in higher education, for example, is students coming from secondary school not being prepared to go into university and struggling a lot. And so if we find a way to talk to each other, I believe we can solve part of this puzzle and make this transition for students a little bit easier, a little bit better, especially for their mental well-being. Across type of expertise, what I mean with that is there are some people here that have more knowledge in regard to research, in regard to learning and teaching. And then there are people who have plenty of experience in teaching, okay? And I think we need both. We need to talk to each other and see, okay, if you're in a classroom, what are the challenges? If we look at the data, what does the data suggest, right? So what should you do? So if you apply this, is it better in your classroom now, yes or no? If no, maybe there's another process going on, and then we go back to research. And so that's what I mean with this different routes. It's not a one-way street. It goes from science to practice, and from practice back to science. So my idea was to build this network, to share knowledge that exists there between different people from different disciplines, different sectors, who have different kind of expertise, or just really a passion to improve learning and teaching in the long term. To exchange ideas, what they're doing, and to develop hands-on and practical and feasible teaching strategies based on evidence. Okay, I think that's my biggest goal for this network. And I have to thank for seed funding from the School of Social Sciences, the interdisciplinary incubator grant, who's actually making TILE possible. So TILE is going to start as kick off today as an external speaker series, where I have already spent the last 3 to 4 weeks inviting people in to give a talk during a TILE meeting, and have people with different backgrounds, from different disciplines, and from different views on education, and they will be talking about different challenges as well from their perspective. And I think I'm very happy, I'm very glad that this worked out, because this was an idea that was started actually a year ago with Natalie Lafferty, where we had a brown bag meeting once a month to talk about issues. And I thought we have to bring it to the next level, we have to make it bigger, and so right now we are here kicking off Teaching, Innovation and Learning Enhancement Network. So my vision is that TILE is the missing link between different stakeholders by providing a platform to discuss issues in teaching and learning, and to overcome those issues using evidence-based strategies and findings. But we don't not only want to talk about issues and problems, there are also good things. People are doing good things, things that are working, and what we want to do as well is to share best practice. The overall goal is to advance educational practice by opening a conversation on what is possible to implement in regard to learning strategies, what works and what doesn't work. So during this external speaker series, when we're talking about and getting input from different people, we might start thinking about our own teaching, on a broader level, and see what we can make, if we can make changes. And maybe my hope is that there are different subgroups of people who get together and say, oh, let's do a little evaluation study. Okay, so you had this idea during a discussion, because this is what it should be like. Someone's presenting, giving input, people are asking questions, there's a discussion. And then people get together and see, let's do this micro study and see if I actually find benefits for student learning if I change X, for example. Took me a week to come up with the acronym. So many different things came to mind: teaching and learning and education, better one. And then I wanted something that hasn't been used before, but that acronyms are nice if they have also a meaning if they are just looked at as an acronym. And so I came up with TILE, Teaching, Innovation, Learning Enhancement. TILE is is one piece of a bigger picture. That's what I want to convey with this network. TILE come in very different shapes, pattern, colors. What I mean, we are here in different disciplines, from different sectors, different background knowledge, but we have all the same goal. And if we put everything together, this will be like the outcome, I hope, will be a more sustainable one that we can actually make changes for the future. So I want to give an introduction who's here today. This is based on people who signed up, and I think based on the chairs that are taken, most people actually showed up. This is great. Using the same categorization that I used before, we have the majority of people, their main interest, just from looking at their profiles, is teaching. So they teach themselves. They say that they have a passion for teaching. They want to enhance their teaching. They want to see what's out there, what they can do, what else they can do to add to their teaching repertoire. We have a couple of people who are education facilitators, coming either from charities, coming from higher administrative positions within the university or centers. And we have people who do research in the area of learning and teaching. A couple of people from psychology, but also from education, from the School of Education and Social Work here in Dundee. In total, within the last 3 weeks, I have acquired 60 TILE members. And this is the distribution all the time, and I really like the distribution because most people are mainly focused on teaching. Then we have 17 who have more focus on research in that area, and we have a similar number of people, TILE members, who are education facilitators. And this is not only Scotland, this is actually UK-wide. People from all over here signed up and hopefully are watching for TILE because they like the idea, they want to be included in this, and using mainly Twitter so far, I have started growing the network, and I hope to get more people in the future. Here today, if we look at it a little bit differently, most people are from higher education. We have 2 people who are from primary, secondary education, and we have 2 representatives. I know of one who's here, I don't know if the other one came from charities. We have 2 charities represented here today. The first one is the Scottish Council of Independent Schools. Their goal is promote choice, diversity, and excellence in Scottish education, to provide parents with impartial information, advice, and guidance, as well as keeping independent schools abreast of educational developments, training opportunities, change to enabling the independent school sector to make a worthwhile contribution to the development of education in Scotland. And the representative is Margaret Lennon, who's sitting on this side. And the second charity who said would sign up, I don't know if I did, is Education Fellowship Scotland, which is a new charity. Support teachers to be empowered, network, and high impact practitioners. And let's they want to close the poverty attainment gap and deliver the best education for all Scotland students. This is Nick Ward. Yeah, there. Hi. In total, we have 60 members, I already said, and this is the distribution. So most of them are currently from higher education, and we have 2 more charity / organizations that are part of the network, and so far only 4 individuals from primary and secondary education. It has been very hard to reach people from primary and secondary education, so I'm trying my best, but I hope in the future we will grow that sector as well. I said we have very different disciplines represented, not only here today, but in general. I think here today we have everyone represented except for, I think, neuroscience, try out if it's not the case, and life sciences. Yeah, I think all the others, someone should be here from one or the other disciplines. So I find it exciting because, again, most of those disciplines are presented by people in the network who do teaching, who have a love for teaching, who want to improve teaching, and they can bring that knowledge to the table as well. What we have been doing, we have been working hard the last 3 weeks together with Ginny Henderson, who did the introduction, and Eva Götzke in the back, who is our student assistant, and she has basically set up this webpage. It's important because the external speaker series will go hand in hand with that website. We have a blog on there, and the outcomes of TILE will be published on the blog. So after each external speaker, there will be a blog post that will summarize the talk, that will add questions that were asked. We will add maybe activities on there too. We will add the video and the slides. So a blog post of an external speaker series will have the compact information, what happened during a meeting, and this will be published so that everyone in the world can see it, okay, what we're doing here. And so feel free to comment on this, feel free to share this. This will be the blog. It looks horrible on this because for some reason this projector is still horrible. So there's text here that you can see. Just see if I go on the website, if that is a little bit better. So maybe a bit. Oh, it thinks I'm okay. For some reason, it thinks I'm a smartphone. Great. So this is what it looks on a smartphone, but yeah, so we have a blog, and on that blog you can actually, if you click on subscribe here, you can subscribe to get a notification whenever a new blog post is posted on there. This is good. And so this should be going alongside the external speaker series, but because again, another thing that I felt in the past when visiting other external speaker series, external speaker comes, gives a talk, goes away, everything is gone. Yeah, there's nothing left from it. Maybe the person shares a slide and it's uploaded somewhere, but there's no comprehensive overview of what happened. Many people refuse to believe that the slides are not enough. Yeah, so they shouldn't be enough, because if they are enough, something went wrong during the talk. And so basically, what I wanted to do is have this blog post that brings it all together, ties it together, that people can come back to something that has been that's happened before, and can maybe comment on it and start a discussion this way. This is the current schedule. You can't read it because it's too far away, I think. But I will introduce each speaker right now, because we're able to schedule a talk for each month until the end of the year. So the first speaker will be Mark Healy on 21st of March. Mark Healy is here today. So
hello.
There.
Such a dodgy picture.
Yeah, well, I had a different.
Send you that.
Well, the thing is, I had a picture because I did some stalking. So everyone who's everyone I will introduce today, I actually stalked the person to get a good picture of the internet. And so the only picture I could find of Mark is from his Twitter, which is kind of very low resolution. So it could be anyone, really. So I sent him a last minute email, like, do you have any picture? And I think he just took the picture and sent it. So hopefully not, I don't know. So Mark will be presenting at the end of March. He will be talking about the application of cognitive strategy in the classroom. He's a teacher, a deputy head of high school close to Glasgow. But he is also not only a teacher, but he's also, I would say, an education facilitator, because together with other colleagues, he co-organized or will co-organize the research at Scotland taking place on 1st of September. Yeah. Next one. Then 18th of April. Again, this information is all on our website too. If you go on schedule on there, there's always a link to book you in for the event. Dr. Stuart Waiton will be presenting on 18th of April 2018 on, I love this topic because this is very controversial, and you hear this all the time, people arguing this. And I'm very happy that he's talking about what education is for, in the sense of knowledge, the Enlightenment, and the academy. I think he's here today too.
It's a dodgy picture, but unfortunately I was starting to increasingly realise that is how I look.
Then we'll have Robin McPherson, who can't not be here today. He will be presenting on end of May, 30th of May, talking about assessment, marking, and feedback. He wrote a book together with Carl Hendrik, brilliant title, What Does This Look Like in the Classroom? Exactly what we want to hear, right? We want to know. So we have some strategies floating around. We have some variables we are interested in: student motivation, student engagement, student learning. how can we tie this in and put it into something we can actually do in the classroom. He wrote a book about that, and he will specifically talk about assignment, marking, and feedback. He is assistant rector at Dollar Academy and also a co-organizer of Research Act in Scotland, again taking place 1st of September. Then we will have a summer break, and in September we will return with a talk by Dr. Christopher Madden. His research area is on the effect of emotion on memory, and he will give it also an educational and applied twist. He is a very good speaker, known for science communication, for his science communication skills, and for emphasizing that it's important to communicate science to the public. He is currently an assistant professor in psychology at the University of Nottingham. We're very happy to have him here in September. Our international guest will be Dr. Peter Vetkoyen. Sorry, Peter, if this is wrong, the name, how I pronounce it, but I think it's Vetkoyen. He will be coming in October, talking, and he does a lot of applied research in the classroom, and he will be talking about that. He's associate professor at the Erasmus University in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. We are very happy to get to learn Ross McGill in to come to Dundee. He is, I would say, from all his categories, educational facilitator. He has this website called Teacher Toolkit. Not sure if you came across that website. If not, you should go on there and just check out his resources. And he has recently published a book. He published other books before, and his most recent one is Mark, Plan, and Teach. And we don't know yet what he will be talking about, but it's still some time. But we are happy to have him here. And then the year will conclude with Agiro Kanaki, who is a lecturer in education here at the University of Dundee. And the first time she heard about TILE and the TILE network and the vision, after that talk, she came to me right away and said, I want to be part of this. I want to give a talk. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. I don't even have money, but that's cool. And so she will be talking about the perspective on multilingualism in education, which again, also from a very applied standpoint. So, since this is all about networking, right, what we should maybe do is some networking. So what I want you to do now is, what I have stickers where I want you to put your name on it, and then 1 or 2 words with the best description of yourself, okay? That's it. And then I have different colored stickers. We had to change the color because of the projector, but it's green for teaching, blue for research, blue for research, and red for education facilitator. And what I want you to do is briefly think about your role in TILE and what you think, in which of those different categories you feel most comfortable and would fit best. If you think, oh, you know what, I can't decide, it's 2. I hope we have enough stickers. You can also put 2 stickers on your name badge. Okay, so let's do this, and then what I want you to do is to do actually the activity. So you grab some refreshment, you put away some of the chairs, or put them in different groups. I want to get together in groups of 4 to 5, and try to not get people with the same color, like a little bit of variety here and there. Also, if they're the same color, but try to find someone from a different discipline, for example. And then I want to discuss an easy and a difficult question. The easy one is what you think your expertise can contribute to TILE, how you can contribute to TILE with your expertise. And then the harder question is what you think as a group are the biggest challenges in education that we're currently facing. And discussing this, there's some paper there for you to put your outcome of your discussion on there, and we will take pictures of this again, put it on the blog post. Okay? So yeah.